So we had to know the rules. He called us all. He was great.
Call the meeting to order. I stand for the pledge and an opening prayer. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Let us pray. Our Heavenly Father, help us all tonight to be loyal to this council and to allow us to bring some of our concerns to them without being judged. Help this council to make wise decisions for this community of Blissfield and serve our neighbors and bordering communities. Bless the leaders of this community, that they may be peace among themselves and blessings to other neighboring communities. We thank you for the opportunity to be with this council, and we ask that you be with us this evening. In Christ's name we pray.
Amen.
Thank you. You call, roll call.
Valdez,
Here.
Vanessa, here. James Dyson,
Present.
Mike Gunner,
Here.
Jerry Hayes,
Here.
Barb McHenry, here. Timothy Waters,
Present. Right. Get the minutes.
I make motion to approve the minutes of April 25th, 2022 as presented. Support.
Moved and supported to approve the minutes of April 25th, 2022 as presented. Any questions, corrections? If not, you can call the roll, Lisa.
Mike,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, the minutes are approved. Presentations and communications. Candidate 34th District, Julie Moore. Not here. All right. The agenda for May 9th, 2022.
Well, we approve the agenda as presented. Support.
Moved and supported to approve the agenda as presented.
Did you support that, Tim? Okay, thank you.
You can call, bro.
Jerry,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, the motion carried. Public items on the agenda, public comment. On to unfinished business.
Yes, I have a couple things, please.
Go ahead.
Questioning Danielle, if you would be so kind, status on the applications or applicants for Parks and Rec position.
Sorry, I got distracted. The job closes this Friday at 5 p.m. and currently there are no applications for that position.
Thank you. Second question, I know the building inspector has been on, for lack of better words, hiatus with our Monroe Road home because of the winter months. I was curious when he was going to be able to start checking on that house. I mean, I know it's, and recognize it's only May, but I was curious when he would be able to report back to us on the status of that home.
I have it set on the agenda for the first meeting in June to report back to you guys. And he and I had talked to him about it. It's been a few weeks, but I'll remind him again. And I know he's been in communication with him as well. So
Okay.
We'll have an update though.
Delightful. And then the third item I'd like to talk about, I guess it's unfinished business, sort of, kind of. I know you and I spoke last week during our weekly meeting regarding the ordinance. I don't know the number or the official name of it, regarding the length of the grass in the village. And I know it's on our to-do list since it is May, and I've already seen a couple businesses that are having the lengthy grass. I was curious if we could have that up on our, perhaps our committee of the whole meeting, or I don't know if that's even possibility that we could move that along. Again, I know you and I discussed this last week. I was curious what your thoughts on this.
So I did actually work on Sunday, and that was one of the things I worked on, and it needs to go to the planning commission because it's within the zoning
Okay.
ordinance of our code. So my plan is to try to get that to them at their June, I think it's 6th meeting. I'll have to double check. And then we'll have to do notice and a public hearing here to adopt it, but I am working on that, so hopefully in the coming months, but it'll be halfway through summer, but just because of process.
I understand. Okay.
And then staff is aware of some issues already, and we'll be working on sending some letters to a few people already.
Okay.
And starting the process.
Wonderful. Thank you. Those are my comments.
Any other unfinished business? Julie Moore's your dad.
Yeah, just real quick, I guess an update on pool hiring and, with managers and how that's coming along, how many lifeguards we have.
Yes. So we currently have 2 pool managers, 1 assistant manager. I have 10 confirmed lifeguards. I have 1 that I am still in communication with that I'm hopeful will return. We're doing good, especially with the change in hours, but I would still love to hire a few more just because I do think it's very important to try to work with our lifeguards on vacations and sports. So it would be good just to have that little bit of wiggle room, but I'm very excited for this season. Brian Sills is our main manager out there, and then Benjamin Miller will be the other manager that helps him, but Brian has some really good ideas already. And he is actually helping me with a few things before it even opens. And then just side note for everybody here and for council, May 21st from 10 to 2 is our volunteer day. So we'll be getting the pool set up. That just involves cleaning, getting the furniture put out, wiping everything down, getting organized, ready for opening day. So if anybody would like to attend, we'd love to have them.
Thank you.
Before we move on, are we offering any lifeguard training?
Yes, so currently I've got a few kids that will be registered, but there's a training June 13th through the 15th from 9 to 4 that we will pay for if they lifeguard for us. And then I'm looking into one of our returning lifeguards possibly found an online recertification class. So I'm trying to get the details of that and see if we can get some of them recertified for a few more years as well.
Great, thank you.
And again, Danielle, all this is coming on your shoulders at this particular point. And we certainly appreciate you going above and beyond the call of duty, taking care of this so that we are prepared this year.
Yes, we're making progress. I do have to say though, it is not solely me. Like the office has really pulled together to help me. I would say all of them, but Lisa last week, I feel like I was like, hey, I gotta get this out. Hey, I need this notice. Hey, so all of them though have been wonderful, not just Lisa, but helping me just even like little things like notices and registration forms. So I cannot take all the credit. I appreciate everyone's help.
Great. We're going back to presentations and communications. The candidate 34th House District, Julie Moore, is here. Welcome to our council meeting. Yeah.
Well, thank you. Thank you for recognizing me, and as well, I apologize for my tardiness. Can you all hear okay?
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
They are not.
I'll just speak loud.
Hang on one
Thanks.
second.
Do they not hear us?
she's gonna, sure.
You're good.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So thank you for recognizing me, and I apologize for my tardiness this evening. So just a little bit about me. I am a Tecumseh High School graduate. I'm a 2007 University of Michigan graduate of the School of Nursing. I am a Christian, a wife, a mother, and a grandmother. I have graduated from Tecumseh High School. I am currently an Adrian Township resident. And I have lived by and instilled my faith and my values in my family, and I share them in our community as a community volunteer. I currently work as a diabetes nurse educator locally. So my goal is to continue the great work done by our current State Representative Bronna Colley, whom you probably know is turned out in the next election. Some of the things I would like to impact and work on would be economy. You know, when I hear people in my office concerned about having their retirement funds last them, it's very concerning. I'm also passionate about healthcare, and as well, education is a huge part of what I stand for as well. So I have 6 children, a huge family, so almost 13 grandchildren. And I'm stepping up just because I think it's important with the direction that our country's been going. So my goal is to preserve our conservative rights and protect our constitutional values. So I'm looking for your vote on August 2nd. There are 3 of us running for that office. So I'd appreciate if you take just a few minutes to take a look at the candidates, hoping that you'll pick me, of course, on August 2nd. So thank you for your time. I'm happy to chat with anyone at any time. I am on Facebook and as well the website More for Michigan. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
New business, first agenda, payroll.
I move to approve the payroll register for April 2022 in the amount of $173,458.76.
I'll support that.
Moved and supported to approve the payroll register for April 2022 in the amount of $173,458.76. Any questions? You can call the roll, Lisa.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jane,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes. That motion is carried. Accounts payable.
I move to approve accounts payable for the period of April 23rd, 2022 to May 10th, 2022 in the amount of $182,959.89.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve accounts payable for the period of April 23, 2022 to May 10th, 2022 in the amount of $182,959.89. Any questions on the bills?
I have now no questions, as I had previously emailed Lisa. I just publicly want to thank her for taking the opportunity to answer my questions. The one question that I had, and I know titles and names are being changed, I understand all that, Daniel, with this and as well as with Brandon's treasury report. But when it says capital projects, we would know all these capital projects that are, because they're part of our capital goals, is that correct? Like when Brent has the meters on here, that kind of stuff, that's just part of the normal projects, correct?
So when we did the budget this year, there was the capital projects line that was created. And then underneath, depending in every fund that it had it would list the project or projects and the designated amount for those projects.
Okay.
So for example, there was under urban forestry, the leaf back suction hose.
Right.
And then the amount that was budgeted for that. And I think that was the only one. But then if you go to water, it had 20,000 for hydrants and X amount for meters.
Okay, I know exactly what you're talking
So it
about.
broke it down by line. And then it was also in the capital project too, where it kind of tied together.
Okay, and I saw the sludge removal, et cetera, the rental for firework, et cetera. So she answered all the questions. And again, Lisa, thank you for doing that. I'm all done there, Bob.
Yep. Any other questions on them? You can call the roll.
Mike,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, bills are paid. Action item 3, approve change order number 12 for wastewater treatment plant improvements.
So I guess this is made up of several parts. So I'm gonna go through each, but if you guys have questions, let me know. One part is for $4,286 and it's for an additional clean out and blower piping. There's additional gas piping in the amount of $7,357.99. We do have additional sludge removal in the amount of $12,948.29. Grading to our control building in the amount of $3,783.68. And rerouting some conduit around the crane rail in the amount of $718.46 for the total cost of the $29,94.42. Staff and Hogemeyer have reviewed all of these and gone through with the contractor. If you guys have questions, we will try to answer them. Randy's here and myself, and then I believe Steve with Hogemeyer is on tonight in Denise's absence.
Can you tell us a little more about the sludge removal? Yes, we do a lot of sludge removal.
Yes, so this actually was in the original contract to remove 2,500 gallons of sludge, and it was last fall, correct me if I messed this up. We had actually emptied that tank down as much as we could, ready to go, and the subcontractor for LaSalle failed to show up as they said they would. LaSalle went back and forth with them for a little bit, ended up just terminating that subcontractor's agreement with them, hired a completely different subcontractor because we had to get this done and the other contractor was not being responsive. At that point, once the new contractor came in, there was far more than the 2,500 gallons of sludge to be removed for the contract, so that's where the additional charge came in. And I can give you a more detailed timeline if you would like. This, I will be very honest with you guys, is one of the items that we being staff and Hogemeyer haven't fully agreed on because it is partially the fault of the first subcontractor not showing up. We did talk to LaSalle about this to see if there's any way within their contract between the two of them that they could go back on that person. And there's not. The contract is very clear on our end that it's the 2,500. So my concern is that we are committed to, especially with these other things going on, and I don't want to say that we've eliminated the potential for this to go to court. I want to make sure that we're following the contract by the book because we are in a really good place because we've been doing that, and I don't want to change our process for that. The other thing that I guess I would add is they did only give us a few days warning on this, but we do get look aheads in the schedule, and we do, as staff and as village owners of this project, need to try to be proactive in helping with these issues.
Well, that was kind of my question, is there, is 2,500 gallons the max that we can hold?
No.
Okay, so we're over this 2,500?
Yes, the 12,000 is the additional over that. The
Okay.
first, the 2,500 that was part of the contract is not included in a change order.
So this is nothing that we have control over, is that what you're saying? Or we do have a little control over this?
Yes, I'm not saying we have full, but yeah, but we would normally, we have 2 times a year where we pump the sludge out so that we can land apply it with farmers. So typically we do that in the fall and then the spring. Now, we did have it pumped down initially when the first subcontractor failed to show up. So we did everything we should have then, LaSalle, I mean, really did what they should have as well. It was their subcontractor.
And that was a normal procedure.
Correct.
That's a semi-annual procedure that was performed.
Correct,
Okay.
yes, yes. So then we would have done it in the spring again, and working with LaSalle to see when we could do that and get it, when they were planning to do the work and try to coordinate that. So why I say that it's partially us, LaSalle should have and could have done a better job at communicating. And I mean, in a perfect world, we wouldn't have had to get a new subcontractor.
Right.
But we could have also been a little bit more prepared and watching ahead within the project as we get those look aheads and communicating better as well. Because we do have to remove that anyway. But it is, I mean, like you guys just seen a sludge bill as well. So now we're paying more money, yes, essentially.
Because we were proactive and didn't look ahead, is that costing us money now?
Yes, but I don't want that to be, I'm not saying that's the only sole
I understand, no, I
reason,
understand
but
that
yes,
there's
I
other
do believe
rationale.
that's a contributing factor.
So that last sludge bill, that was again, normal semi-annual maintenance performed.
Correct, yes,
At which point we now have an additional amount of sludge that needs to be removed in order for work to continue.
it already has been removed. LaSalle has done that work, so they're just requesting that we pay them for that additional removal.
So this would be our spring removal.
Correct. And then we will do it again in the fall, and we don't, you have know when you normally do that, Randy?
In November, December.
Is this a reasonable price range for spring sludge removal?
I think we're conflating two things.
What was that, say it again?
Their change order price in the spring haul, they're different things. This happened in like February, I think is what it was. On their paper with it, that was February, we just did this last haul like 2 weeks ago.
So
Essentially, it was just what was left in the bottom of the tank for them to be able to get into the tank.
And we knew we left some last fall when we cleaned it, remember? Because we had questioned that. There was still some in the bottom of the basin, correct? They didn't remove it all. And then because there was more than
They
we thought.
didn't remove it last year. We did, but last fall it was the village that did it.
Yep. Here's my question, are we, because the centrifuge isn't dewatering at the water plant, are we getting more sludge at the wastewater plant?
And it wasted more because of it, but
Are we still working on a solution for that too?
Yes.
We paying per gallon or truckload?
this change order
I can
was a flat rate. The actual contract that we have sludge haulers per gallon, it's 0.056 gallons or cents per gallon.
are we going to run into a situation where we're gonna have to pump that thing down again before November, December?
They're done in the tanks with work. I just gotta,
Yeah, we should not unless some crazy unpredictable thing happens.
I was
We
wondering,
should be
same
good.
thing, no, Jerry, I was curious, yes.
So I'm okay with this work being performed, I just wanna make sure this is a fair price. We knew additional sludge had to come out,
What did we pay last year?
that's what I'm asking, is this a fair price?
And
for what they did, yeah.
yeah, so, and I believe Pogemeyer had worked with them. And this started a little bit higher and they were able to get them down. I don't recall when that first initial submittal was.
What about this rerouting the conduit of the main building there? It says recommending this work on a T&M basis, is that time and material? We
Yes.
said we paid them 35 hours and they want more than that 35 hours.
So, and you're talking about the $718 one?
Correct, page 64 or 64.
I don't have, this happened when I was gone. Do you have the details of that one?
So they're putting up an overhead crane in the main building. And one of the posts for the overhead runs against the wall with a conduit that runs against that wall that's in the way. So they just gotta basically put it in a piece of conduit on the wall, going around the crane structure.
And the contract allows them to bill for their time and material already, so we are not increasing that, we're just trying to pay for that additional material cost there.
This is something else that wasn't in the original proposal.
That is my understanding, yes, it
This
was
is
not,
additional work.
right,
So it's easier to rerun the conduit than rerun the cranes part.
yes.
Would they have known that had they come out and taken a look earlier? I know that this happens on some items, that's why I'm asking on this item.
Little stuff like this, it's always get overlooked.
Well, there's a lot of little things that are getting overlooked. That's the problem.
Yeah, I would say that that is a typical thing that you probably, until you are actually there in construction, would not catch. I do agree that there have been things that could have been projected for, but
And this would not be one of those things that could be projected for.
I mean, I'm not gonna say 100% never, but it is something that could, it's so minute that it would easily.
As compared to some of the other items that we've been asked to
Yes,
take a look at.
absolutely,
This is not apples with apples.
yes.
Understand, okay.
So the big thing that concerns me is the term temporary. We've seen this temporary a few times now. Additional clean out and temporary blower piping. We had temporary 600 amp service, we have temporary, a couple other things. I get the need to work around stuff, but how much temporary stuff are we installing that?
And what happens when it becomes untemporary?
Well, yeah, that's the other question, right?
Are we stuck with it? I mean, what do we do with it? We sell it.
Well, you gotta realize that we're retrofitting an existing operating plant, so there's gonna be a lot of doubling up, you know what I mean, as they cut things over. So, I mean,
I get that, but not the
it's a
change.
cost, but
Shouldn't that be in the original plan?
you would think so.
So is that truly temporary in this case? This is, I think, a little bit different.
Or, and that's fine, I mean, if it's not, if it's semi-permanent, great.
The clean out is permanent. The blower piping is temporary, because we can't put the new blowers in yet because that building doesn't have the available power. One of the new blowers is a 200 amp breaker, and that's more than what feeds that building currently. So I can't put the new blowers in and have everything final, so we have to have something set up temporarily until we can do that.
And then
So, wait,
further too, if we're paying for these parts or this material, it becomes ours. At the end of the project, in the event that we don't need it, we can do a couple things. We can keep it for spare material or parts that we can use down the line, or we can sell it back to the contractor at that time to recoup some of that money. It's going to be dependent on what the item is, what the best course for us will be moving forward. And then, I mean, I guess I would just kind of echo what Mike said, like, really, we almost, it would have been easier in some aspects to rebuild than reconstruct because you're meshing old with new. And when we say, I mean, we're upgrading the wastewater plant, but there's a lot of components and pieces that are not changing and that will continue to be there after this upgrade is complete. So I mean, that plant was built in
That particular building is 55, 56.
with technology and materials today, so it can be challenging. I share your concerns and frustration. I'm not saying I don't.
I have a quick question. You mentioned the blower building doesn't have the power to run both blowers. That's an upgrade that's in this project.
But they just gotta wait, we're waiting on correct spec from the state before they can run the wire, and then the headworks building the lower building is called headworks, so that's where it has to be upgraded.
Just wanted to make sure. So did we ever figure out or answer James's question on what that cost us last year to haul the biosolids away?
I'd have to look up the cost,
think-
but it
I
is
think
something that we typically would.
Randy agreed it was a fair price.
Was it? Okay.
All right, so we need a motion to approve this.
I move to approve change order number 12 in the amount of $29,094.42 and authorize the village administrator to execute all documents related to the change order on behalf of the governing body.
I'll support.
It's a motion and a support. Can you call the roll on that as presented, Lisa?
Barb? Yes. Mike?
Yes.
Gwen?
Yes.
James?
Yes.
Tim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Bob?
Yes, that motion carried. Action item 4, approved dental insurance renewal.
Recently, council had approved the medical benefits, and at that time I had indicated that dental would be next. This has a renewal term previously of June 1st, and one of the things that I had indicated I wanted to do was align everything to the December 1st or January 1st, which will help align with our budgets. We can budget better and then get everything where it expires once and look at them as a whole. I am proposing a few changes. We currently have standard dental. We can renew that at a 9% increase. However, I would like to recommend that we go with principal option 4. Well, it's actually option 7. Principal is better coverage for our employees. Their deductible goes from $50 and $150 to $25 and $75. It also has $1,000 orthodontic coverage and is cheaper. I do want to notate though that I'm recommending that instead of having it renew on January 1st of 23, I would like to push it out to January 1st of 24. The reason I'm recommending that is because it only bumps it up an additional 1%, but it locks that rate in for 18 months. What potentially and most likely will happen is that if we renew and we have that term end in 23, we're going to see more than a 1% increase because the insurance providers have indicated that COVID numbers are starting to catch up and significantly impact these adjustments, and they're seeing double-digit increases. So it just locks us in at that lower rate. It's better coverage for the employees. So to me, it makes the most sense, but I will try to answer any questions that you guys have.
I move to renew the village dental insurance with principal insurance with a term renewal date of January 1, 2024 to align of employee benefits.
Support that.
Moved and supported to renew the village dental insurance with principal insurance with the term renewal date of January 1st, 2024 to align with employee benefits. Any other questions? You can call the roll, Lisa.
Tim?
Yes.
Jerry?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Barb? Yes. Gwen?
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, motion carried. Action item 5. Authorize village attorneys to terminate village trust funds.
Yay. At the last meeting, this was brought up and council had thought that there was a motion to do this. Lisa did go back and do some digging as well as myself. We found a committee of the whole where council did talk about terminating or filing to terminate these trust funds, but there was no official motion. And I thought with the change in administrator and legal since that conversation, it would be good just to revisit and make sure that that's still the route that you guys want to go. I do want to add as well that this is a process. Just because we start it does not mean that they will be approved. There is a public comment portion involved with this. And if any resident or any member of the public has any comment or feedback, they can get that information to me and I'll share it with the attorney. And then we'll share out those public comment periods as well. There are 3, and I think everybody knows, but just to summarize, 3 trust funds currently that the village has. There's the Bachmeyer Little League Trust Fund that has $36,000. The Clara Bachmeyer Trust Fund that has $51,000, and the police equipment that has $25,000. If this is approved, the intent would be that those funds would be spent only in those specific areas. So for example, police equipment would be used only for police equipment. And then the parks in their appropriate locations as well.
I'll make a motion to move to authorize the village attorney to file the appropriate documents for termination of the village trust funds to appropriate the funds to be spent on the respective beneficiaries, specifically the police equipment, Clara Bachmeyer Park and Bachmeyer Little League Park.
I'll support that.
We have a motion and a support. Can you call the roll as presented, please?
James,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, that motion carried. Action item 6, authorize village administrator to hire seasonal aquatic center employee.
I move to authorize the village administrator to hire seasonal employees for the aquatic center for the 2022 season.
Support.
Moved and supported to authorize village administrator to hire seasonal employees for the aquatic center for the 2022 season. Any questions, comments? If not, call the roll, Lisa.
Jerry,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, that motion carried. Action item 7, rescind resolution supporting Project Phoenix Lenaway Complex.
I'll make a motion to move to rescind the resolution supporting the Project Phoenix Lenawee County Complex, referring to council support of the project.
I will support that.
Moved and supported to rescind the resolution supporting Project Phoenix Lenawee County Complex, withdrawing the council's support of the project. Any comments or questions?
So sorry.
Go
My
ahead.
only question is this, if this were to go through where council were to approve this, what is the policy, what is the procedure then, Danielle?
So
What would we do next?
what I would do is notify the county commissioners and the city of Tecumseh. And I say the city of Tecumseh because they, in partnership with the county, had originally reached out to us on this, and just let them know that council has decided to withdraw their support for this project and just kind of let it be known. But I mean, they still will have the ability to move forward how they choose, but it just would go on the record for them.
And what about the letter that was written and I believe members signed it? What's the status of that?
Yes, all 7 members of council signed that letter, and it has been sent to the county administrator for the commissioners to be shared with the commissioners.
Okay, thank you.
Any other comments?
I just like to say that this should go to a vote for the public. That's,
I agree.
What do you mean?
I don't think the county commissioners should be heavy-handed with funding it from government funds. If this is something the voters of Lenawee County want, put it on the ballot, let the voters decide.
I would agree with that wholeheartedly. When one county commissioner makes the quote that that the other municipalities in the county receive $10 million, and he makes the comment in the Telegram last week, it says, quote, "It's theirs to spend. I'd like to think they would get busy and take care of their own business." Well, I mean to tell you, every village resident also pays a county tax.
That's right.
And so some of those ARPA funds were received by the county based on the 3,000 plus people that live inside this village. And you can't go around making comments like that when, it really kind of perturbed me because we had a couple of pending projects from the original subcommittee that were just wiped off the table. Who knows if they'll fund those this time around. So I just think there's a lot more behind the scenes maneuvering going on than what anybody really knows.
I don't know, can we take that letter that was written and our signatures and put that into a letter to the editor? In the Telegram, is that appropriate, inappropriate?
That would be up to you all as a council. I mean, that letter is from you guys.
It's public record.
I mean, yes, it absolutely at this point is public record.
It
It's
is.
been at a public meeting,
Right.
but yeah, I would leave that up to you guys. I mean, I certainly, if that is your wishes, can send that to the paper to share for you guys or assist however, but
I know we still have to make our votes on this, but that's great that we're sending it to the commissioners, but I think our residents, our people need to know that we are not in agreement on that. How it was presented and what's happening now are looking like two different things. So I would really, if council would agree, I would love for it to be sent to the paper. I think that people need to know that we stand firm on this. My opinion.
Is that something we can cover in new business?
you guys have already approved the agenda, but you can bring it up under council discussion and give some direction on what your thoughts are there.
Just one question, how would we get this on the ballot for the people? Who could head that up?
That would have to come from the county.
County?
Unless a petition drive, but
Yeah,
residents.
I have to look into the specifics on how if there's a way we could do that. And I could let you guys know. I don't know if there's a minimum signature or something to get it on or how that would work.
All right, if there are any other comments, you can call the roll.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes,
Barb,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, that motion carried. Action item number 8, appoint DDA Main Street Manager.
Well, I would like to make the motion to approve hiring Laura Nichols as recommended by the DDA Main Street Board to the full-time DDA Main Street Manager at a probationary salary of $47,957 annually.
Support.
Moved and supported to approve the hiring of Laura Nichols as recommended by the DDA Main Street Board to the full-time DDA Main Street Manager at a probationary salary of $47,957 annually. Any comments or questions?
I think she would be outstanding. Did she start tomorrow?
yeah, can start tomorrow.
Should, if approved, she will be starting on the 15th.
Or any other comments? You can call the roll.
Tim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Gwen,
Absolutely, yes.
Barb,
Positively, yes.
Bob,
Yes, motion carried.
Not that one, but
Congratulations.
Congrats.
congratulations, Bob.
Appreciate
Yes. Very happy for you and our village. Thank you.
thank you, I'm excited, it'll be fun.
Now I get to bug you.
I know.
No, congratulations.
We've been keeping our distance until tonight, so.
Great. Item number 9, approve wastewater treatment plant upgrade.
You guys were on a roll with motions.
I
know.
Move to approve contractors
Yay,
payout
yay.
14 in the amount of $379,360.70 and engineer's invoice in the amount of $9,916.13 for a total payment of $389,276.83 in connection with the Village of Blissfield wastewater treatment plant project upgrade, and authorize the village administrator to execute all documents related to this payment.
Support.
There's a motion and a support. Are there any comments or questions on this? Not, you can call the roll on that motion as presented.
Mike,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Gwen,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bob,
Yes, that motion carried. On to reports. Anything for chief? No, good. Anything for the treasurer?
Yes, I do. Hang on one quick second here. Thank you, Brandon, thank you for taking again the time to answer those questions ahead of time. And I appreciate that you send it out so everybody can see what I'm asking. I just wanted to clarify, I don't think you took it this way but I want to just double check. You made a really good point here. It says, I want to point out that even though a lot of these accounts are over budget, several are well under budget. Totally agree with that. But if you look at the overall picture of each individual fund, you can see we are on track in our spending, with our spending. Totally agree with that as well. It is hard to picture with all the changes that are happening with our chart of accounts conversion. Danielle and I will be doing a mass budget amendment, which you have talked about, and Danielle, you have talked about. Next year's budget will be next year's budget will be the very first one where everything will be budgeted and tracked where it should be. I totally agree with that. I just wanted to clarify that when I connect with you on these items, it's because when I look at the column and they're above that 100% of our budget, anytime it's above 100%, that's where I question it. And I think you realize that, but I just wanted to reiterate that. Okay, there's nothing I feel that we're doing wrong. Okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, because this kind of a calculation has really over the time spit it out, I think, so once this is all sheet one, I guess I make sure especially you didn't respond that the more accurate.
Yes, and I think that asking the questions is an important part of the understanding of the financial portion of our village. So thanks again for your time. I'm all set.
Any questions for Danielle?
I didn't do my report.
I know, but you meet with us,
Are you shaming
you meet with,
me? No, I'm just kidding.
you meet with us individually, plus any council folks have questions for you right now.
Yeah, and I do apologize for not getting my report.
Your Friday reports are thorough.
Yes.
I got 2 quick ones, I guess, well, for either Randy or Danielle. What percentage are we at for the completion of wastewater plant project?
We were like, I guess, 65 at our last meeting. We're completely based off of,
Yeah, I think it was It was right around there. I can look at our notes and let you know for sure the exact amount.
What was the completion date that projected, the newly projected?
The new is,
November 30th.
yes, yeah, December 1st, November 30th. So, and hopefully that doesn't change. We did talk to Eagle about the extension and we're meeting with them again at the end of July on that, but right now, that is the current schedule. We've been talking pretty regularly and putting some pressure on the contractor that if they know something's going to cause any further delays, that be communicated to us sooner rather than later, and they've been pretty good about that, I would say.
What was that date again, Danielle?
The newest completion
Yes.
is end of November, beginning of December.
Okay, I'll say just December 1, that's.
Yeah.
You established a good relationship with Eagle?
Yes, I mean, we're still mending and building, but yes. I update them pretty regularly and they have been really good, helpful for me as well. Tiffany Meyer specifically has been my main point of contact. There's been a few others that I've talked to, but she has been great.
Great, good. On to council discussion.
Looking back, just searching through a couple of years' budgets. Fiscal year 2020, we budgeted 50,000 for sludge hauling total for the whole year. And then there was
Say that number again, Mike,
50,000,
for which years?
2020.
Thank you.
And there was another line item under there, Randy, 125,000 for the oxidation ditches. I don't remember what that was. Was that
That was just.
part of that? Okay, so I mean, we haul out typically 300,000 to 400,000 gallons of sludge out of that plant a year, I think, just based on the last couple RFQs that I've looked at. So, I mean, there's a lot of sludge that's hauled out of there, so I think that probably checks out just, you know, the amount of bringing in the trucks, that sort of stuff, the overhead on top of just the labor of doing it. I wouldn't say that it was anything extreme. And then I know, Danielle, you have a lot on your plate, but I'd like to still take a look at the water and sewer rate, the rates and the fees and the study, an updated study for this year. Again, you know,
I think John's coming in this week.
we were
Yep,
proposing
he will
that,
be
so.
here on May 26th. And I've already been talking to Randy, Nora, and Brent. He did request a few things, one of them being our capital improvement plan, which I've got the very preliminary draft completed today on that. And then he'll be meeting with us just to look at all of that and see if there's any changes that he's recommending. And after that day, I will share with you guys what the results of that are. And then in staff right now, last week I had sent out our current fee schedule to staff to review and see if there's any changes. And of course, that'll be part of it as well.
You said to discuss the letter to the editor for the council discussion. I am very for us doing that, if you guys are, if you are, great, if not, that's cool too, but I already gave my rationale why I think it should go into the paper. Anybody else think so? What I'm asking.
I have no reservations. Yeah, it's already public record, so put it in print.
We need to make a motion or?
No, I just want to know, I guess
Consensus?
she wants to know.
Yeah, I think just a general consensus
Put it in the
that,
paper.
That's what she just needs to
and
know.
that way I have the direction to go for it.
Oh,
If it's just me saying it, she can't do it. It's gotta be, you know. And then my next question then for council discussion is committee of the whole, game plan for no meeting?
Nothing at this time, Danielle?
I do not have anything at this time.
Well, sweet.
Public comments, comment items not on agenda.
firmware setting. You know, putting that letter in the telegram, maybe there's a lot of other communities in Lenawee County that feel the same way. So maybe that you can petition or something, maybe that'll get, you know, people read it and go, yeah, all right, we need to do something about it. I think it's a great idea.
We can only hope the editor wants to hear it.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of that sentiment from the rest of the county. Again, those ARPA funds, I know they continue to change what they're able to be used for. But again, I see it as more of a, you know, we break it down into more of a, not a wish list, but, you know, with COVID relief based on maintenance and continuation of what needs to be done rather than,
Right.
You know, like I said, a wish list project. So, you know, it's not just us that we look at the road commission potentially wasn't going to get any funding for that. So I mean, that's huge for them to put, you know, half of those funds towards a new project. I think based on history, I think the county prefers to spend that money a little more conservatively, and maintenance would go a long way with it.
Every community has maintenance.
We're all challenged with the infrastructure issues right now.
We're still in public comments. Yeah. Can I recommend that we put that in our own paper first? I mean, sending it to both papers, that's fine. But just because of your representation is to the village and not to the entire county, that you put it in advance simultaneously, or ask that it be installed simultaneously or printed simultaneously.
Good point. I'm good with both papers.
You are. Just.
You don't say that.
He's Mr.
Still.
He's Mr. Laura Nichols.
I can hang around.
Or anything else, can I have a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion, we adjourn the meeting.
Support.
We call the roll, Lisa.
Glenn,
Yes.
James,
Yes.
Barb,
Yes.
Tim,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Bob.
Yes, meeting adjourned.